Yes, finally. Mike, you good?
Yeah, yeah, all good. How are you?
I'm good. You had a good day?
Yeah, no, the day's been okay, not too bad.
Man. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. Anytime, anytime.
Hey, man, you don't even look South African anymore.
What,
Yeah,
what do I look like?
I don't know. So, like, you've been born in somewhere in Brooklyn. I don't know.
No, uh, you need to look like them.
Ooh, okay. All right, I feel you, man. I feel so. I don't want to waste any time, man. I want us to talk straight about your very interesting career, man. Like, I
Yeah,
hope it will inspire a lot of people watching here.
yeah, yeah.
So, like, let's start from scratch. Where you from? Where you born? How was your childhood
Yo,
before?
my, I'm a South African born boy. Uh, Roots go all the way back to KZN. Grew up in Gauteng, though. I
Okay.
come from a family, so always played football. I have siblings that played before me professionally, but I never like to attach myself to them, so I won't name them. Yeah, no, I just I don't like,
But
but yeah,
you have your own story, though. You're succeeding. It's not like you're riding on their success.
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's more reachable and seems like it makes more sense if I'm basing it on just my story. You understand? So yeah,
Yeah.
in a home that was very, it was good. It was good. I wouldn't say it was the best or we had everything, but I was not lacking the basics.
Okay.
And I
So when you, how old were you when you moved to Gauteng?
No, I was born there. I was born there.
I
I was
thought you
born there.
said you were born in
No,
KZN.
no, no. Family is from there, but I was born in Gauteng. Born and
Or you've been here?
raised. Yeah,
Oh,
born and raised.
oh, now I understand. So when do you start when do you start playing football?
Uh, I'm not gonna lie and be like those people that say I started kicking a ball at 2 years old. I think I probably started playing seriously when I was in grade 4 or 5 for the school team around then. Uh, uh, Club football, I started playing when I was 12, which is in grade 6, I think. Yeah, when I was
Oh,
12 for Highlands Park. And yeah, so I started at that age, around 12.
so you learn pretty fast, man. That's wild.
No, I think for me, what made it easy for me to start at that age, like I said, is because I came from a football family. So they kind of invested in my football. So that's why I started that early.
I think from that you might be able to even share an advice on their parents here. We have players that are parents now. You can share an advice on how to help the player get to that level because I think that support was very important in
Yeah.
your career.
Look, I think the biggest thing is if you have a good support structure in this sort of industry, that's actually what gets you to where you want to go. Because I feel like there's a lot of young players that are very good at football, but maybe not very intellectually given. Maybe he's not that good at school. But, you know, parents want you to go to school because whoever's son is a doctor, whoever's son is a lawyer, you understand? So I feel like when you recognize what you're good at an early age, it's very important to invest in it very early. And I think that's what my parents did for me.
Yeah, but I think you're not so clear in terms of like how can parents we normally say invest, but like what exactly are you doing as a parent, or what is it that you think parents should do? You understand what is it that your parents did? Because
Okay,
first of all, they need to make you feel confident before they can even start putting in money in other things.
okay, for me, like every other parent, my parents wanted me to go to school first, get good marks. So for me to be allowed to go to training and play soccer, I had to get good marks first. So,
Yeah.
so I started working on my school first so that it was easy for them to let me go to soccer. And my parents at the time were not even coming to my games. But when it was things like awards and I would be getting the awards now, then they start to get interested and they want to come and watch the games. And then I found out about Highlands Park, told my dad about it, that there's a club I want to join. He was skeptical about it. And again, same thing. I would walk to training on my own, go there. When there's award ceremonies, then they come and they see the results of what I've been doing. Then they started understanding that, no, maybe there's actually something there. And like
Yeah, and that belief.
any other child, my dad said to me, if you cannot be in South Africa and not have your matric. So I had to go all the way, finish my matric. I went to university as well. I went to Wits, I did my IT, I finished. So after I finished, it was easy for me to say, look, this is what I want. I've done the school thing and what you expected of me, but my heart is here. So I played for a few clubs in South Africa. I played for Newden, I played for Highlands Park, played for Stamina. I played in the SAB, GDL, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm going to get there. I think for me, like you said, when we spoke earlier on, there are players that use the route, the South African football route, from under 17, under 19, SAB or MDC, and they get to professional. But sometimes it doesn't for all of us, and I played in the Highlands Park system from a very young age, from 17 from 12 until I was 19.
Yeah.
And
That's a long time.
you understand, that's a very long time. So you get in touch with agents or agencies, from referrals from friends or people that know people. And for me, I'll suggest a few. I'll suggest a few in case parents want to contact those people. But that's the route that I took. I found someone when I was playing. There's a tournament that I played in Cape Town. And I met an agent called Isaac Mwalosi. And then he spoke to me. He watched me play and felt that my football or the style I played, I could actually do something in Europe. And yeah.
I think we kind of moving too fast. Like, I'm gonna get lost at some point. So first of all, how do you get to Highlands Park? Like, because I understand you saying you were walking, but how do you get there?
How do I get there?
Yeah.
So when I was playing for the school team, when there was actually, let me just use names. There was a boy in my school. His name was Kagiso Madisha. He played for Augusto Palacios.
Okay.
So at the time, I was 12, and when I used to hear him saying he plays for Orlando Pirates, to me it didn't make sense because Pirates, the Pirates we watch on TV, and he's in my class. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So then he explained that no, there's divisions for younger people and all of that. And then where I lived in Houghton, so the closest club to around where I was Highlands Park. So then that's how I then went to Highlands Park and then found out when the trials were going to be. And yeah, I went to trial.
Oh, okay. Now I get that part. Because I wanted to know if like someone called you or you went for public trials or it was private trials. I wanted to understand
Open
that part.
Trial with like probably 100 people. Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy, bro. Like that's crazy. I don't know how y'all make it through that, but yeah.
Persistence.
Okay. So like from Highlands Park, that's when we moved to Stamina, or like let's take step by step.
So I had a back and forth with Highlands Park. I was at Highlands Park, moved to Stamina, and went back to Highlands Park at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a coach that was coaching me at Highlands Park. He left and he went to Stamina. So when he left, and then he moved. He then started his own club. It's called Newden Football Club right now. And when he moved there, that's when I moved there as well. But I didn't play that much games because I was just preparing for my journey to Europe. So I trained with him as well. He's the one that prepared me. The last coach that coached me before I came overseas was him.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. So he believed in you that much?
He actually did.
Would you say him believing in you played a huge role in your career?
It definitely did because he's the one that spoke to my parents early on and said, nah, you need to let the boy go overseas.
At that time, did you feel you were special or was it just you were trying your luck in football?
I didn't feel like I was just playing, hoping to get to Chiefs. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's one of those things. But he said, nah, I think you can actually do something with this. So now I've traveled the world through football. So yeah.
So I want to understand the period where let's say with 7 years from 12 years to 19 in Highlands Park, plus the time in Newden, the back and forth. I want you to make me understand that where were you mentally? Did you feel like, okay, it's gonna be hard for me to reach my dream? Where were you mentally? Because you spend this kind of long time in an academy, which
Yeah.
I think most of the kids would love to be advancing at that time, getting to super sport, a bigger team. How was that affecting you mentally?
I think at that time, especially at that age, that's when you start listening to a lot of outside voices because you're
Yeah.
trying to get where you want to go. So when a certain coach or a certain agent comes and says, "I can take you where you believe," and you go there because you want to do things in a rush, and then you get there, it doesn't work. Another coach from another team says, "Come to me, I'll take you to Spain," and you go there. So I then got to a point where I felt like it's not working. I'm just jumping back and forth, but
Yes.
direction until I was like, no, I spoke to the coach in Newden and he said, look, just settle down in one place. You know where you want to go. Let's work from here. And I think that was the best decision I took. I stayed with him. I prepared with him, and in work with my agent Isaac, it did for me. I think when I now realized that, look, jumping up and down is not it's not going to get me anywhere. I need to ground myself, understand myself as a player. Also, another thing is we also want to get to those teams or play for the big teams, but are you ready to play for those big teams is another question. So that's why when I started preparing to travel and the training was difficult, I started asking myself, am I sure this is what I want to do? Because it's not easy. It's not easy. So you need to be mentally ready, physically ready. You need to prepare yourself to go into that journey.
That's crazy. We have about two questions here. Now. I know they're going to disappear. So I think it's better I just ask them before they disappear.
Yeah.
So this one is, I don't know, this one might not be relevant because it's asking your age. And then the other one is asking about your future plans. So I don't want them to disappear, even though we'll dive into that later on.
My age, I'm 24 years old right now. I was born in 1999. I'll be turning 25 next year. But I look
Is it that moment I wanted to ask, is it the real age or a football age?
For me, it has to be the real age because I look very young. I'm 24 years old. Yeah. And
Thanks.
as for future plans, obviously going higher divisions and to the rest of Europe. This is not my final destination, basically.
Let's take it back to 2017, man.
Mm.
I don't know. Were you playing rugby? What's happening? Were you a rugby captain? I want to understand that part, man.
How about that?
Sorry?
How do you even know about that?
I do my research.
Yeah, so throughout high school, I played both rugby and soccer.
Okay.
And yeah, so I was the rugby captain. And in my matric year, I took rugby player of the year and footballer of the year. So it was, yeah.
What?
Yeah. So for me, uh, one of my friends said that the rugby trainings the fitness was on a higher level. So I started training with the rugby guys to use the fitness in football. But then I ended up the sports, so playing both sports.
But what about your technical side? Were you able to maintain it? Because that's an oval ball.
It became difficult because now technically they are very, very different things, but somehow it worked. I don't know how, but it worked. It worked. There's a lot of things I learned in rugby that I used in football.
I understand. So when do you make a decision that, okay, rugby cut you out, even though I was player of the year, I'm out. I was captain actually, I'm out. Now I'm focusing more on football. When do you make that decision? And what led you into making it?
So the crazy thing is when I was in Matric, there was a university called WUSU, Walter Sisulu University.
Okay.
They offered us, me and a couple of my friends, scholarships for rugby. But I didn't take it because I don't know why I didn't take that scholarship. So I think when I didn't take that scholarship, that's when I knew that, nah, it's actually soccer. Because when I realized I'm going to university for rugby and I have to train, and when you have a scholarship through sports, you need to make sure you don't miss training. So when I thought about now, just rugby, I said, Nah. I enjoyed having the choice, enjoyed being able to choose between rugby and soccer. But being grounded to just rugby for me was no. So then I chose football.
What are your parents saying? Because that's a big opportunity right there.
I mean, I had another scholarship as well for the IT at Wits, so
Ooh. Okay.
I just
Okay.
did. Yeah, I just did.
The boys an A grade. I think I'm losing you. I don't have your sound. Sorry.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, we're okay. So I understand 2017 is the same year you joined TFS management, right?
Yes.
That is Isaac. That's when he spotted you. That's 2017.
Yeah.
So when you did you tell him about the rugby? I want to understand the conversation between you and him when you talked about rugby.
I think, well, when me and Isaac spoke about it, he didn't understand how I was doing it. But then he watched me play football and he said, no, boy, I'm looking at you play football. Why are you playing rugby? Just leave that thing. Let me take you somewhere. Just leave there. So then I was like, okay, let's see where he's going to take me.
What does the rugby coach say? Because you are the captain, you are the main man. He probably think you have a bright future.
I think you just explained because, again, I was honest with both my coaches. So both coaches knew I play soccer and rugby. So they both knew that at the end of the day, I was going to choose one. So obviously he was sad about it, but he understood. If that's what you're going to do, then I support you. So he was very good, okay with it.
Yeah, that's great. I guess they are good people before coaches. Did you ever feel like you made the wrong decision at some point?
I think I felt like I made the wrong decision 2020. Because 2020, Isaac and I, we had a Sweden trip. So I was going to play in Sweden in 2020.
Okay.
And then, you know what happened with COVID and all the foreigners that went overseas and had to come back when COVID started. So yeah, fortunately I was one of those people and we had to go back home. And then at that point, it's COVID and you're sitting and I'm thinking, I probably should have just carried on with rugby because I was going to stay and play for a club here at home and all of that. But then I think 2021, when things started opening up again, yeah, I was okay now. So went back to full training. Then the regret was gone. So I think just 2020. Just 2020.
Yeah. That was a difficult time, man.
For everyone.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So like you played in South African development. You've seen the ups and downs. What do you think can be improved in this? What do you think can be improved for us to reach the international standard?
I think the technical ability needs to be improved. Like I said, I'm 24, but I've got I think we have a raw talent, but we don't have proper technique. People in my team, 17-year-olds have, no. The difference between the two for me is in Africa, we focus on fitness. We run a lot and we have.
Oh.
When you bring the ball to our feet, there's no technique. You know what I mean? So I think, and then the trainings here in Europe, every training is with the ball in your feet. Even if you're running with the ball in your feet. That's why when you look at people like Messi and the close control, it's because everything they do, they have the ball on their feet. So South Africa, I think if we implement more ball work trainings into our systems, I think technically we'll become better.
Wow, man! Like, shout out, because when I look at us, like, we have a whole lot of skill. Our technical ability at some point is the highest, but with some it's still questionable, and that's very true because I don't see. It's like the technical ability is not being prioritized that much in the country. That's facts. But you just made a crazy point with running with the ball because I thought that's what we do the most, looking at the kind of skills that we do, the show boating. I thought we are good with having the ball at our feet, but how you put it, it's just, it opened my mind in some type of way. And that should be looked into. I'm grateful you said that, man. Like, shout out.
Definitely one thing about Africa or South Africa that we're really good at. The training is, I remember when I was preparing to go to Europe, I ran a lot. I was definitely fit when I came to Europe. I was fit, but technically and tactically, I was not up to par compared to the guys here. So I think we have the fitness training okay. We just need to add more technique to what we're doing with the ball. The skill is there. It's, I mean, we're born with it. If you're South African or Brazilian, skill is there. It's natural. But I feel like there's more we can be doing with the skill.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be in South Africa and not know how to do a 360. It's
But
not possible.
if you're a
Yeah,
even if you're a goalkeeper, you need to.
yeah, that's fact. You know, there's a question here. What they do in Europe, they can do shooting without a keeper. In pause. Yeah, that's fair. Sometimes they have those. I don't know
Yeah,
what you call them. I get
yeah,
what.
those target with the corners and yeah, you see. So I think those things like that actually build your technique and all of that.
Okay, so like you've moved. I want to know about your first one. You moved last year, right? Because last year, when 2022, that's when you moved to Poland, right?
Yeah.
I want to know about your first week. How's your first week there? You don't know no one. You're here going to training and like, how's it for you?
Uh, First week I get here. First thing, Polish people are big.
Okay.
We have bodies. I remember we were on the bus with two of my other guys, and we're going to the first game. And you know, you can hear, even if you don't understand the language, when you hear people laughing and like talking funny, like, you know, like what can these guys do? Because we are very small bodied and all of that. It was, I think the first week makes you miss home, basically. I missed home because everyone here speaks Polish. No one speaks English in the town where we were. Even if I wanted to ask simple questions about like where's the shop, or try to ask, even in the shop, if I want to ask where's the juice, I need to use Google Translate on my phone. Communication is bad. So you can imagine when you go to training and nobody understands what you're saying. The coach doesn't even speak English. So even when they explain tactics, you rely on a player that can speak the language to explain what was said and all of those things. So yeah, it was very difficult the first week, I won't lie. But when you're hungry for something, you make it work.
Oof. Okay, I'm saying I hear questions saying you did not start in the position you're playing now. This is interesting. What position were you playing in the beginning, and how did that
So
change?
yeah, a very interesting one because when I got here, I went to, I think, about three trials, and in all three trials I played different positions, and all three teams wanted me to come play for them. So what happened is, before I left, Isaac told me, look, if a team says we want a right back, or we want a winger, or we want whatever, if that's what they want, just go and play in that position. So when I came here, the first team, they said they needed a center back, and in our whole camp there was no center back. So I played that position, and I actually signed for that team and played a whole season as a center back.
So that's
Which
crazy, bro. Like, how do
even
you
makes them
trial?
taller than me and bigger than me, but I was actually playing center back.
How do you even trial in a position that's not yours and still make it?
I think, I don't know,
That's
like I
wild, bro. And also, I heard about the rule in Poland that they can only have one player that's one foreign player in the club, right?
yeah.
Am I right?
So no, they can have like maybe two or three foreigners, but only two foreigners can play at a time.
Oh, okay. So does that not make it difficult for one to break through in that side?
Yeah,
It means
it makes it difficult because if maybe there's already another foreigner or two other foreigners, now we're not just fighting for a position in the team. I'm also now fighting against other African people for one position on the field.
yes.
And for you to play, to take off the other foreigner, then you can come in, and now forming
Oh,
come off. So it's extra work. It's extra work. But I mean, yeah.
I can imagine, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy, bro. So like mentally, when these things challenge you, where do you draw strength?
My dad, my dad. Yeah, definitely my dad.
Sh-
My dad, yeah. I think
Shout out to
yeah, I don't know if you came across my other interview, I did say that my dad is my support structure and my mom is my prayer warrior. So those two, any problem I have, they're not here with me, but like just talking to them on a daily basis, it gives me that strength.
uh,
Yeah.
is your family Christian based? Are you a religious person?
They're Christian based. I'm very religious.
Oh, okay. So it means we're not worried about you coming back at 2 a.m.
Ah, nah. Discipline is there. Discipline is there. It needs to be there. Especially when you're alone and such and so far away, you need to be disciplined.
Even with the females, I mean, you're in a different country now. Are you still disciplined with the females?
You know, with the females, they'll always come, you know. They'll always come. So there'll be time for that. Not now.
Okay, back to your first week in there. Like it's a whole different season. It's a whole different setup. It's different food. It's the weather. It's insane.
Yeah.
How do you adjust to that? Do you even enjoy the food?
I won't lie, no. This is the worst food I've had, to be honest. I the worst food I've had. But I remember when I ate it for the first few weeks, you know what it does to the stomach because the system is not used to it. But I knew that I had to eat it more to get used to it. So even like the
Oh,
way you can get used to the weather is if you train in the weather. You have to condition your body. So when the other
yo,
players are before training, I will go and train on our own to condition the body. Then by the time training starts, my body already ready for that weather.
okay. So I think this time I should allow you guys to send in those couple of questions because I think you're asking relevant questions, right? Bro, like let's finish the weather thing nicely because man, I thought that's one of the reasons why our players go abroad and not make it because it's hard to acclimatize. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's cold. It's super cold. Imagine, let's say, for example, you're from Limpopo, like it's hot, and now you have to move to a very cold pole. So it's hard to survive. I really get shocked and I get proud when I see people like you that stay that long and end up acclimatizing and not even feeling that cold anymore because it's a big sacrifice and it takes a whole lot. And shout out to you, man.
Thank
I don't want to lie about that.
I think the biggest thing is as much as the weather conditions are difficult or the football is difficult, when you remember where you come from, I think that on its own should be motivation for you to deal with whatever the problems are. Because you need to consider the number of kilometers you travel to come here. So
Yes.
if the reason to go back home is because I want good weather in summer, I travel. Summer will come in Poland. Just stay here and wait for the summer to come.
uh,
So it's all right. Yeah.
that's facts. That's facts. Right? Let's get back to the question. They're
Yeah.
saying, do you think the rule of two foreigners can be implemented and help South Africans? Do you think it can be a good thing for South Africa?
Um, I think honestly, it depends. If we're saying if we're limiting South African leagues to playing just two foreigners, are we talking about other African people, or are we just saying if you're out of Africa, like if you're from Europe and what and all of that? Because I think with us, maybe we still need people from other continents and other countries to play in our
Yeah.
leagues because the
Yes.
only way West African countries are the best at what they do is because they play with Europeans a lot. So if we as South Africans play on our own, I don't think we're going to learn anything. So I don't think that rule would work for us because we need more people, more countries playing in our league so that we learn from them and they can also learn from us.
That's fact. Unlike that side, they already have that philosophy.
They already
So
have that
that's why
philosophy,
it's hard.
so that's why they can do the whole limiting how many players from outside can play. So with us, we still need to get more football knowledge. I feel like football is something you don't stop learning.
You don't.
You don't
You learn it.
So yeah, I don't think for us it's something that we still need to. If you look at Sundowns, they have these players from the South Americas and all of that, and just having those players improves the players around them as well. Shalulile has been killing it, and he's from Namibia, so
yeah, Toriel Bus have came. Like,
you understand. So I think
doing
for us, we still need those players from outside to at least help us build our league, and we can learn from them.
Facts, man. Because when you look at it, it kind of, it's a good thing for the number of players that we will develop. Like if we have less foreigners, our players will get more chance. But when they get the chance, are we really improving them? Then no, not that good.
Yeah.
So are there any you going to Poland? That's the second question.
Are there only what?
Are there any regrets?
Any regrets?
Coming to going to Poland? I wouldn't say coming because I'm not that side.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily because no, not necessarily because I think for me I take everything as a learning curve. So anything that I feel didn't go my way in Poland, I just took it as a lesson, not as a regret.
Can be sometimes. My king.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, this network of mine can be messed up sometimes.
No, it's okay.
We're reaching the end of our interview, but normally we play a game. So today I want to play a game with you, okay?
Okay.
You ready?
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Let's go. You're going to choose, right?
Okay.
Choose between these two players. Pesita or Lodge?
Crazy.
Okay. Mabena or Mufuge?
Mufukeng has played more, so Mufukeng.
You don't sound sure.
It's a tough one, that one. It's a tough one. But Mufukeng.
Okay. So, who is the highest goal scorer in the PSL history?
You. Wow. I don't think my history is that good.
I'm going to give you 5 names and you take your wild guess, okay?
I think that's better.
Jerry Skosana. Benny McCarthy. Colin Simbesuma. Siabonga Lomvete. 4 is enough. Take your wild guess.
You see, it's a good thing you gave me names. I was about to say Chom.
That's wild.
In the PSL, yes. Right?
And also the Bafana Bafana all-time leading goal scorer.
It has to be between Nomvete and Benny McCarthy.
Hey man, you can't comment the answer here. Come on, man. Why are you commenting the answer? You're giving this man the answer.
I was gonna get there.
Okay, it's Nomvete. It's Nomvete with 123. And then what about Bafana Bafana?
Bafana
All-time leading goal scorer, yes.
Are you giving me options again? Just 3.
The same options. Those are the people who scored most goals in the country.
I don't know why. I feel like if it was Nomvete again, you were not gonna ask me this question. So I'm gonna say Benny.
Yeah. Okay, guess the number of goals then, because I'm gonna give you 3 numbers. Okay, 36, 29, and 31.
But just a side note, it's very sad that our top goal scorers goals is not even above 50.
Yes. And
I'm gonna say that. I think 31. I'm not sure.
Yes, it's 31, and the record has been there for more than 10 years.
And no one is that is close yet, right?
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. Even the non-vet record, it's been there for more than, I think, 15 now.
Yeah.
So, 15 because he came back and played at Amazulu, so it must be less than 50.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, we move. The most kept Bafana Bafana player and the second most kept. One, the most kept has 107 caps. The second most kept has 90 plus. I'm not sure if he'll play again, but yeah.
if Kune is not there, then I don't know. If Kune is not there, then something is wrong.
To give it away, Kune's number 2. Who's number 1?
I knew he had to be there. Number 1.
The most kept Bafana Bafana player of all time.
Has to be someone that started playing for the national team at a young age, though.
Yes, he did. He did.
It's not Benny.
Hint, at some point he captained Bafana.
At some point he captained Bafana. I'm trying to think of the captains now, way back from Aaron Mugwen. Position?
If I tell the position, then I gave it away like completely.
No, because statistics are very difficult to keep up with. Sorry. Yo.
Okay, it's fine. Let me give you a countdown. 10 seconds now.
And it's not Aaron.
I don't know.
No.
We're asking me. So you're saying it's Aaron?
I think so.
Okay, you are wrong. Then it's Aaron.
What? It had to be him, though. It had to be.
Yeah, he served the country. Like, what do you think when you look at Bafana Bafana, where it's at, and do you think in the near future you can maybe play a part and help it be in a better state?
I think that we want to help the national team, but I mean, there's not just me, but there's quite a number of players from South Africa right now that are playing on an international scale, probably just in the lower leagues, and maybe they're not that known. But I think if the coaching systems do involve most of the players playing abroad right now, I think, yeah, definitely we can. I believe I can try and help as well. I feel like it's one thing to say the national team, they're not playing well, and then you go there and you don't make a difference. But I think it's going to be a system thing. It can't be a change from just me. It can't be a change from just one player. But it has to come from a group of players. We need to believe. We need to play for the badge. I think the minute we start playing for the Bafana jersey, the way the Springboks play for the Springbok jersey, we'll start being a team to reckon with, honestly.
In fact, how do you think this number of players playing abroad will actually impact Bafana Bafana, and considering all the different types of levels you play at, and the types of...
Sorry, please say again.
How do you think this huge number of players playing abroad will impact the quality of Bafana Bafana? And then, before answering that, do consider that you're playing in different leagues and different divisions.
Yeah. I think in any way, it's definitely going to impact Bafana in a positive way. And my reasoning for that being, because we're playing in different leagues and in different countries, it means everyone is bringing a different set of knowledge.
Okay.
Understand? Everyone is grabbing... That's why I keep referring to Western African teams. If you look at Senegal or Nigeria, they have players playing in England and Germany and France and all of these things. So when they come into the international setup, you're bringing different techniques, different energies, different football playing styles, and you're You understand? So I think that diversity will help the national team because we'll all bring. Obviously, if I've learned something from Poland or from Sweden or from wherever, when I go into the Bafana camp, I share the knowledge that I have. Because as players, sometimes it's not just about who the national team coach is. Playing around players that have knowledge, I think it's very helpful. I think if you look
Yeah.
at Lepasa as well right now, if he's there in the camp with Lebu Mutiva, Lyle Foster, his game as well as a striker, when they're doing finishing together, it improves. So I think it really helped the national team.
That's facts right there. But I want to question the synergy. Uh, Looking back at a record of the teams that won the World Cup or that dominated the World Cup, let me
Yeah.
say, when you look at it, you have teams like Spain that they had Barcelona, like literally Barcelona was half of the team.
Yeah.
That's normally what happens in most of the teams. Like half of the team is kind of like making the whole national team. Do you think us having a lot of players in different places might end up working against us?
Yeah, I think to some extent, probably yes, because I think I've seen a lot of comments where people have been saying just take the whole of Sundowns and make them play for the national team. It could work for us because, I mean, they've built a system. Like I said, it goes back to not just one player, it's a system thing. So I think for Spain's and the Brazils, taking players from maybe 6 players from Madrid and 5 from Barcelona, because it's not too much diversity, there's already an understanding in club football. So when they come for the national team, it just moves. It's a moving well. You understand what I mean? So I think taking players from too many places could be a negative, but also it could be a positive in the sense that we are teaching each other more. There's more information if you're getting more players from more places.
Yes, facts.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it, it's more like we will end up having sacrificial lambs. Like what I mean is everything okay on that side?
Yeah, everything is okay.
Okay, I'm hearing some kind of sounds. Okay, so I'm saying like for example, if we have Sundowns dominating Bafana Bafana, we can have the likes of you, Lal Foster, whoever that we feel can add value in that squad, and that can
Yeah.
help us work. You
Yeah.
understand? That's where your experience from abroad can help us improve because we are going to be playing in a World Cup, which means you're playing against teams that you probably played against some of the players. Like you
Yeah.
played a book against 1, 2 players that are playing in that World Cup, so you know the European style of play. But for our synergy, we need that Sundowns group to help us move in a certain direction. Then you come with that abroad knowledge, with Strasbourg, and then Mailula from MLS, something like that.
Yeah. That's the but yeah. At least if you already have 4 or 5 players from Sundowns in there and they already have that understanding, it's easier to build when there's already a bunch that already understands each other than building with 11 people coming from totally different directions because it's going to take a lot to understand each other and it's going to take a while.
Yes, it's a lot of different coaching that you have to not necessarily cancel, but try to mold them into one big
And
idea.
very difficult,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so when would be the ideal time for you to make your Bafana debut, according to you?
According to me, I think I'd give myself another 2 years. I think the reason being there's a lot of young players right now, like the likes of Mofokeng, Mailulas, you know. So I think considering that I'm 24 right now and others are like 18, 22, in 2 years we're all in ages that are mature enough to be able to take on carrying that badge because I feel like the Bafana badge is very heavy. There's a lot of
Yes.
comes with it, so there's a lot of maturity as a player that you need to have to be able to take that burden upon yourself. So I think for myself, mentally, looking at the other group of players that I think are closer to my age, I think probably in a year or two. But if the call up came now, I'd definitely go. I would never say no.
Yeah,
I'd,
it's a bit weird what you said too. Like I thought you would say I'm ready anytime.
no, I mean I'm ready. definitely. I'm ready, definitely. But I'm just speaking the sense of maturity as a player as well. You know, still trying to learn more, expose myself to more challenges in Europe and all of that, so that when I do get that call up, you know, I'm very effective to the country.
Yes, I guess Kumbukani, and I guess we have the same idea. You should already be in the squad.
Yeah, no, if the call up came, definitely, I'd definitely say yes.
Okay, so this one is gonna be a bit tricky. This question,
Yeah.
because I need you to be honest, and it might not be a good thing to be honest at this point. I see there's quite a number of you going to Poland, and it's in different divisions. I want to understand if that is a good thing for all of you, or it's a bad thing for some. How do you rate this? Because I'm saying this, I've seen some tweets saying that players are moving abroad to fourth division, fifth division, stuff like that, and it's not necessarily improving them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been in that space. I've seen tweets, and like obviously I respect everyone's opinion, but you haven't been there. You play with people. What do you think?
Honest answer is that I think with people, especially if there's anyone that's watching the live and feels that my story sounds like a success story and now they want to go to Poland, what I want to clear is my story should motivate players to go to Europe, not specifically Poland. Because what we do as Black people is, if I go back to this doctor example, if you hear that so and so is playing in Poland, everyone now wants to go there. It doesn't mean that Poland is all flashy and nice, because we went through a lot of problems here and we actually suffered a lot in Poland. It took a lot to even still be here. So I think for everyone to come here, it could work for others, but it's not going to work for everyone. For some people, they'll come here and go high up divisions, or their football will improve. For some people, they'll come here and go back home, and there won't be a difference. Whereas when we say branch out to Europe, go anywhere. There's so many countries in Europe that you can try. There's people that went to Cyprus. There's people that went wherever, and journeys are different. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Poland.
Facts. You know, because it kind of hit my mind in different ways, because I'm thinking to myself, like, even if it's a fourth, fifth division there, chances are that it's probably better than our second division. Chances are that it is. You understand? So even if it might not be, but it's still a stepping stone for you to get to La Liga, to get Eredivisie somewhere, because they don't just take you from South Africa and you go to a bigger league. You need to have some certain experiences. So I was looking at it in that way, that there's no way it can just be all negative. Like it's not possible. It can be a stepping stone.
In all honesty, the games that we play here, I actually understood why European football is so good. I think it also comes from the support structure, because even in these leagues that we're talking about, fourth division, fifth division, third division, stadiums are packed.
Facts.
I don't know how many people go to games in the Glad Africa, but here, even in fourth division, the stadium is full. The quality of the pitch is proper. The stadiums look good. So it just shows how much these people invest in football and how much, yeah. So it's very, the player, the one thing you love is going and looking at a pitch, and the pitch is beautiful and green and perfect. I think also just the goodness of the pitch motivates you as a player to want to do well.
You know, just before we did the interview, one of the ladies' mothers actually in Finland, she just sent me a video. She said, "A game right now, it's packed."
Yeah.
And like, it's not even a first division. I think it's the third division or something. It's packed during the week. So you realize that, wow.
Yeah.
Just wow. Like,
yeah, no, Europe.
I wish we had that kind of fan base.
I mean, I don't know, it'll take a lot to get there, but it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. I think once we start playing good football as a country, you know, fans will start going to the field. That's all fans want. Good football. Let them go there and enjoy what they paid for. Get results.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The main agent here is saying, actually is asking me, but I think you might answer that. You might just, do you know that fourth division in Poland is similar to our PSL? I don't know about that. You can confirm.
I've seen. I played in fourth division game, and the energy, the field, the fans walking in with the player mascot, I felt like I was playing in the PSL.
Shout out. So I think what you say kind of erase the mentality of players are moving to fourth division. It's a bad thing. I don't know if you understand that.
Yeah, no,
Because
it's not a bad thing, because I think another thing that people have to understand, if you're saying you're moving from South Africa to Europe, we're not saying you're leaving maybe SAB and you're going straight to Barcelona. Even when you get here in Europe, you're basically starting afresh from the bottom. You need to work your way up. So I think,
yes, you can.
yeah, if you're in the fourth division, play your hearts out in the fourth division. Next season, go to the third division. It might not be that easy, but you start somewhere to go somewhere.
So you can't just make a big jump like it's a miracle.
The start.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for this part of the conversation because, you know, I have a lot of players that inbox me and ask me like, do you think I should do this? Do you think I should go this place? I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I knew. I'm gonna advise you and say go and try in Poland, and then after 2 months you hit me up like, yo, like I'm depressed. You gave me wrong advice, or I'm like, no, don't go, and then I just killed your career. You missed a big opportunity. So I'm like, I don't know. Do your own research.
Yeah.
So I think things like what you're saying right now might kind of be an answer to a whole lot of players, which is why, like I said, I'm interested in talking to you because your journey is very different to a lot of players. Like you'll open our minds. That's why I'm very interested in this kind of conversation, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think for me, all I'm gonna say is, I think it's the part that maybe most people don't share, which is the honest truth is that when you get here, it's not all lavish and nice and everything is perfect. I think when you get here for the first time, it was probably more difficult and stressing and painful here than it was back home, because you need to understand you're in a new setting, you don't know anyone, and they already have people that play football in Poland. So for them to prefer you as a foreigner over a young boy that probably grew up within their academy, you need to do 3 times, even 4 times more than what they do. You understand? And I think people expect, okay, I'm going to go to Poland and I'm going to get there and straight to first division. No, you need to start somewhere and you need to work your way up. Because at the end of the day, it's football. There's always going to be someone watching. So don't worry about what division you're playing in. If you do the right work, someone is always watching.
Thanks, right? What would you say is the ideal age to make a switch?
The ideal age. Whoa. You know, with that, I think it depends on, okay, for me, considering the type of family I come from, I say after 18, because I really promote completing your matric first, so that, you know, because I mean, at the end of the day, you need something to go back to after football. So I think after 18, there's players that I know that left maybe at 16 and went into the junior academies and it worked for them. But I think for me, the safest age is probably 18, 19. You're done with the matric, you're an adult now, you're able to take care of yourself. So I think, yeah, at that age, I think, yeah.
When you look at Isaac, I don't want to mention the whole crew because you know who's in TFS, right?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you look at the initiative they do of like gathering players, having them trial, and then sending them abroad for better spaces, do you think South Africa should be implementing more things like that?
I think, yeah, I think they should. I think,
Or do you think the government should invest in people like that to actually be able to fund players a bit more?
I think You see, that's a very tough one because it's a 50-50, because if the government funds the football back home on its own, I don't think much players like me and everyone else would even want to leave and go to Europe. So I think there's a problem at home that's making us want to go out.
Mm.
So I think it should start there. If they start showing more support in the football back home, then they can implement the whole sending players overseas as an extra. But now it has come to a place where TFS, things like TFS, sending players away is what's working for us, because back home there's nothing that's going on for players.
Facts. It's like if you're not in the 16 teams, we know
Yeah,
chances are that like, your career might just die out.
because it said that I can play for an academy for many years and not get to first team, and then go and play 2 years in Norway, and then when I come back, I sign for Chiefs and Parrots for big money, or Sundowns. So I had to first go all these kilometers just so you can sign me in Kaizer Chiefs, and I was probably staying in Soweto playing next to the stadium and all of that. So it's a very difficult thing that we have to go out just to be recognized back home.
Facts. Like this is something musicians normally say. They say like, to be appreciated in your hood, you have to conquer outside of your hood. Like it's like if you're from Cape Town, once you come to Jersey and you make big moves, people in Cape Town
That's the
like,
only
oh
way.
boy,
Yeah, that's the only way you get respect. Honestly, that's the only way you get respect. Yeah.
So there's a question here. They're saying, is it not harder at all the ages? Because out here they grow up in institutions. Do you not feel that you have a better shot if you came earlier?
Definitely. I mean, if you came earlier, yes, definitely. I think honestly that's the better thing, the best thing to do, because sometimes, especially what this person is saying in that question, sometimes when you come as an old person, it's hard to mold you, because you already have, your mind is already fixed on whatever you learned when you were younger. So I think it's better to come at an early age so that you can grow up within the systems of Europe. So I think, yeah, preferably coming earlier is the best thing.
In fact, I want to go back to what I was saying. Like, I feel like the government should invest in people like Isaac, Taylor, and so that they can be able to fund trips of more players. I don't know if that makes sense, because they can only fund so much, and obviously players have to dig out their pockets at some point. But if there was a better funding, then maybe we could make it impact.
Yeah, no, that's very true, because there's a lot of talent back home, but that probably does not have the funds to travel. So I think that's definitely something that they need to look into, because there's so many people that there's literally nothing else that they can do about their life. Literally kicking a ball could be the one thing that gives them their big break. So if football is the one thing that could save me and my family, and I can't pay for a trip to go to Europe, it becomes very unfortunate and very sad. So I think it is something they definitely need to invest in.
So do you as a person ever dream about things like building a dungeon house? Like, not necessarily, I know a dungeon house sounds like a trap house, like with a big
Yeah,
stuff, but I'm saying a dungeon house in terms of like a place where you can actually have players accommodated, and then they be able to trial at closer places. Like, for example, let's say you have some sort of a house in Gauteng. You know that, let's say you're from Durban. Like, let's say you grew up in Durban. Okay,
yeah.
so you have a house in Gauteng, now you have money, and then you can be able to have like 6-7 players from Durban, have them stay here for 2 months, and then they trial at different places, try their luck. Do you think about such things?
I think that's a dream for me. Definitely I do, because obviously I still have cousins, younger siblings, friends, and everyone that I know. They're these players that want to pursue football, but they don't have the opportunity. So I feel like if I get to a position where I'm able to help, someone come from Limpopo or where, and they want to get a trial somewhere in Joburg. If you have something like that, it's very helpful. It's very helpful. So I think it is something that I would want to do.
Okay, so this question, I think we're going to skip. Gutano, he did mention that, I think you missed the first part of the interview.
Yeah.
He mentioned that he went on a couple of trials before he actually made his final move, and then we moved to that one.